The house stands quietly on 2nd Street in Massachusetts, its white wooden walls calm and innocent, as if they have never witnessed fear. But silence can lie. The Lizzie Borden House does not scream its history. It waits for you to feel it. The moment you step inside, the air changes. It feels heavier, as though the house itself is breathing, watching, remembering. In 1892, this home became the center of a nightmare that America still whispers about. Andrew and Abby Borden were found brutally murdered, their bodies torn apart by repeated axe blows. No one heard screams. No one saw the killer leave. Blood soaked into the floors, splashed the walls, and stained the soul of the house forever. And at the center of it all stood Lizzie Borden, calm, pale, and strangely untouched by the chaos around her. Even today, visitors claim the bloodstains never truly left. Though the floors have been cleaned and replaced, people say dark shadows appear where the bodies once lay. Some guests wake in the night, convinced they smell iron in the air, the sharp, unmistakable scent of old blood. Others swear they hear soft footsteps pacing the halls, slow and deliberate, as if someone is counting steps, reliving the moments before the axe fell. As night deepens, the house reveals more. Guests report seeing a woman standing near the staircase, her face hidden, her presence cold. In Lizzie's old bedroom, people feel sudden pressure on their chest, like unseen hands holding them down. Paranormal investigators believe something is trapped here, angry, restless, and aware. Some whisper that it is not just human spirits that roam these rooms. There are stories among late-night visitors of Jinnat-like entities, dark beings drawn to violent death and emotional torment. These unseen watchers are said to feed on fear, appearing as shadows with no clear shape, watching from corners where light refuses to stay. Sensitive visitors feel sudden dread for no reason at all, their hearts racing as if warned by something ancient and unseen. One guest claims she heard a whisper near her ear. Not in English, not in any language she recognized, just a low, commanding sound that sent chills through her body. Another visitor felt something brush past her in the hallway, though no one was there. The house does not chase you. It simply lets you know that you are not alone. Some say Lizzie's spirit walks freely, forever defending her innocence. Others believe something far darker answered the call of blood that day, something that never left. When you stand inside the Lizzie Borden house, you don't just hear a story, you become part of it. And once the house knows you've listened, it may decide to remember you too. The Lizzie Borden house hides its violent past behind a calm, almost welcoming exterior. And that is what makes it so disturbing. From the outside, it looks like any ordinary New England home, painted white, standing quietly under the open sky of Massachusetts. Sunlight touches its windows gently during the day. Birds pass over it without hesitation, and neighbors walk by, as if nothing terrible ever happened there. But the moment you stop in front of the house, a strange feeling begins to grow, slow and uncomfortable, like a warning your mind cannot explain. The house feels too still, too aware, as if it recognizes anyone who dares to look at it for too long. When you step inside, the calm image begins to crack. The air feels different, thicker, colder, pressing against your skin. Even in daylight, the rooms seem dimmer than they should be, as if the light itself is afraid to enter fully. The walls appear clean, carefully maintained, yet many visitors say they sense something beneath the surface, something soaked deep into the wood and plaster. This house has seen violence so intense that time itself seems unable to erase it. In 1892, unimaginable brutality shattered the quiet life inside these walls. Andrew and Abby Borden were murdered with an axe. Their bodies struck again and again with unstoppable force. The violence was personal, savage, and filled with rage. Blood splattered the rooms, soaked into the floors, and crept into the corners, where shadows still gather today. Though the house has been restored, repainted, and cleaned countless times, people claim the memory of that blood never faded. It is as if the house absorbed it, feeding on it, allowing the echoes of terror to live on. Visitors often say that the calm appearance of the house feels like a lie. The longer you stay inside, the more uneasy you become. Your footsteps sound too loud, your breathing too clear, as though the house is listening. In some rooms, the temperature suddenly drops without warning, causing your skin to prickle and your heart to race. You may feel watched, even when standing alone. That feeling does not come from imagination. It arrives suddenly, deeply, and refuses to leave. Many believe that such violent death leaves behind more than just memories. Dark emotions, fear, pain, and rage can attract unseen forces. Some paranormal researchers suggest that Jinnat-like entities are drawn to places where blood was spilled unjustly, where suffering was extreme and unresolved. These entities do not need to show themselves clearly. They exist as pressure in the air, as shadows that move when you are not looking directly at them, as thoughts that suddenly turn dark for no reason. People who have stayed overnight in the Lizzie Borden House often describe an overwhelming sense of dread that builds slowly after sunset. At first, everything seems fine. Then the silence becomes heavy. The walls begin to creak, not like old wood settling, but like something shifting carefully, intentionally. A door may close softly on its own. Footsteps may echo from an empty hallway. Each sound feels measured, controlled, as if something is testing how much fear you can handle. Some guests say they feel sudden waves of emotion, anger, sadness, or panic that do not belong to them. Others describe seeing dark shapes, standing still in doorways, watching without moving. These shapes disappear the moment you blink, leaving behind a deep chill and a sense that you were just examined by something that knows your weaknesses. It is said that Jinnat do not always appear as monsters. Sometimes they simply observe, feeding on fear, waiting for silence to grow louder. The calm face of the house makes these experiences even more terrifying. Nothing looks broken. Nothing appears dangerous. And yet, your instincts scream that something is wrong. The furniture feels heavy with history. The floors seem to remember footsteps that no longer exist. The walls feel like they are holding secrets they will never release willingly. This contrast between peaceful appearance and violent past creates a psychological trap, slowly pulling visitors deeper into unease. Some believe the house itself became a vessel after the murders, a place where dark energy gathered and settled. Not just the spirits of the dead, but something older, something that recognizes pain and feeds on it. In quiet moments, when no one is speaking, people report hearing faint tapping sounds, like fingernails brushing against wood, coming from inside the walls. Others feel a sudden breath against their neck, though no one is behind them. The Lizzie Borden house does not attack. It does not scream. It does not chase. Instead, it waits. It lets its calm exterior lower your guard, before slowly reminding you of what happened inside. The true horror is not what you see, but what you feel, the growing realization that violence does not always fade. That some places remember, and that whatever remembers you back may not be human at all. The axe did not just kill bodies inside the Lizzie Borden house. It carved something permanent into the air, into the wood, into the silence that still lives there. When Andrew and Abby Borden were struck down, the violence was not quick or merciful. Each blow carried rage, intent, and a terrifying closeness. This was not a distant crime. It happened face to face, breath to breath, with blood spraying across walls, soaking clothing, pooling on the floors, where footsteps would later walk again. That kind of violence does not disappear when the blood is washed away. It leaves a presence, something that settles deep and refuses to move on. People say blood has a memory, and in this house, that memory feels alive. Visitors often describe the strange sensation of standing in a room and suddenly feeling dizzy or sick, as if their body is reacting to something unseen. Some claim their hands begin to tremble without reason. Others feel a sudden pressure in their head, like an invisible weight pushing down on them. These experiences happen most often in the exact spots where the bodies were found, as if the floor itself remembers what it held that day. The Axe murders were brutal beyond words. Andrew Borden's face was destroyed so badly that he was barely recognizable. Abby Borden was struck again and again, even after death. This level of violence creates more than trauma, it creates an echo. Paranormal researchers believe such acts tear something open, a doorway formed by pain, fear, and spilled blood. Once opened, that doorway does not close easily. It allows energies to pass through, energies that do not belong to the living world. Even after more than a century, guests report seeing dark stains appear briefly on the floors or walls, only to fade moments later. These are not physical marks, but impressions, like memories replaying themselves. Some people swear they see footprints forming on the floor, wet and dark, leading nowhere. Others say they hear dripping sounds late at night, slow and steady, even though there is no water source nearby. Each sound feels deliberate, like a reminder that the house has not forgotten. At night, the atmosphere changes completely. The silence becomes thick, almost painful. It presses against the ears until even the smallest noise feels too loud. In that silence, many guests report hearing a faint chopping sound, distant but rhythmic, as if metal is striking wood again and again. The sound never lasts long, but when it stops, the fear remains. Your mind knows what you heard, even if you wish you hadn't. Some believe the bloodshed attracted more than just human spirits. In places where violent death occurs, Jinnat-like entities are said to gather, drawn by suffering and chaos. These beings are not bound by walls or time. They linger where fear was strongest, where emotions exploded in their purest form. In the Lizzie Borden house, visitors often feel watched from corners that seem darker than the rest of the room. Even in full light, these shadows do not move naturally. They appear solid for a moment, then dissolve, leaving behind cold air and racing thoughts. There are reports of guests waking in the middle of the night with the feeling that something is standing beside their bed. Some cannot move, their bodies frozen while their minds scream. Others describe seeing a dark shape leaning over them, silent, heavy, filled with anger. When the presence disappears, it leaves behind exhaustion and a deep sense of dread, as if something fed on their fear before slipping away. The blood spilled in this house did more than stain the floors. It stained the spiritual fabric of the place. Many visitors report sudden emotional shifts, feeling waves of anger or sadness that make no sense. Some begin to cry without knowing why. Others feel irrational fear, an urge to leave immediately, as if their instincts are warning them of danger they cannot see. These emotions arrive suddenly, powerfully, and then fade, leaving confusion behind. Staff members and investigators have also experienced unexplained scratches, sudden headaches, and whispers heard close to the ear. Some of these whispers are described as low, harsh sounds, not clearly English, not clearly any known language. The tone feels ancient, commanding, and cold. It is believed by some that Jinnat communicate in ways meant to disturb the human mind, using sound and presence rather than words. The Axe murders did not end when the bodies were buried. They continue to repeat themselves in fragments, sounds, shadows, sensations, playing over and over within these walls. The house does not show you the violence openly. Instead, it lets you feel it, slowly, deeply, until your own imagination begins to fill the gaps. Every creak of the floor feels like a step taken by someone who should not be there. Every shadow feels heavier than it should. The lasting spiritual presence inside the Lizzie Borden house is not loud or dramatic. It is patient. It waits for silence. It waits for darkness. And when it senses fear, it grows stronger, reminding anyone who enters that blood once ruled these rooms. And that whatever was awakened by it may still be watching, still listening, still waiting for the sound of another heartbeat in the dark. People who visit the Lizzie Borden house often arrive with curiosity, cameras, and nervous laughter, believing they are prepared for whatever stories the place might offer. But once inside, many of them leave shaken, silent, and deeply disturbed, carrying experiences they struggle to explain. Ghost sightings in this house are not rare or dramatic in the way movies show them. They are subtle, slow, and far more terrifying because they feel real. They begin as a sensation, a quiet awareness that someone else is present, even when every room appears empty. Visitors frequently report seeing figures at the edge of their vision, pale shapes standing near doorways or hallways. When they turn to look directly, the figure is gone, leaving behind a deep chill and the unsettling feeling that they were just watched. Some describe these apparitions as human, like dressed in old-fashioned clothing, their faces unclear, blurred, or hidden in shadow. Others say the shapes appear darker than the surrounding space, as if they absorb light rather than reflect it. One of the most commonly reported sightings is that of a woman standing near the staircase or at the foot of the bed in one of the upstairs rooms. She does not move or speak. She simply stands, silent and heavy, filling the room with fear. Guests say her presence feels intense, pressing down on the chest, making it difficult to breathe. The longer she remains, the stronger the dread becomes, until suddenly she vanishes, leaving the air icy and the heart racing. Children's voices have also been reported, soft and distant, echoing through empty hallways late at night. These sounds often come when the house is completely quiet, when no tours are taking place and no one else is awake. Visitors describe hearing faint laughter or whispered words, followed by sudden silence. the voices never repeat clearly, as if they are memories replaying themselves, rather than living beings trying to communicate. Some guests have captured strange shapes in photographs, misty figures, blurred faces, or shadows that were not visible when the picture was taken. Others report that electronic devices behave strangely inside the house. Cameras drain batteries rapidly, record static, filled audio, or shut off without warning. Paranormal investigators believe this activity suggests strong spiritual energy, possibly more than one presence sharing the same space. As night deepens, sightings become more intense. Shadows begin to move on their own, stretching across walls and floors, without any visible source. Visitors claim they have seen doors slowly open or close by themselves, as if guided by invisible hands. In some rooms, lights flicker even when electrical systems have been checked and found normal. These moments are often accompanied by a sudden drop in temperature, sharp enough to make breath visible. There are also darker sightings, ones that leave a lasting mark on those who experience them. Some visitors describe seeing tall, shadowy figures that do not resemble humans at all. These shapes are said to stand unnaturally still, watching silently from corners or doorways. Their presence feels heavy and threatening, filling the room with fear rather than curiosity. It is in these moments that some believe Jinnat-like entities reveal themselves, drawn to the house by blood, violence, and unresolved suffering. People who encounter these shadow figures often report intense emotional reactions. Panic sets in without warning. Thoughts become confused. A deep urge to escape overwhelms them. These reactions feel instinctive, as if the body recognizes danger before the mind can understand it. Some visitors later describe vivid nightmares after leaving the house, dreaming of being watched or followed by dark figures they cannot see clearly. Many guests also report physical sensations during these encounters. Some feel cold fingers brush against their arms or neck. Others feel a sudden push or pressure on their back, as if something invisible is standing too close. There are stories of people feeling their hair pulled or their clothing tugged gently, like a silent attempt to get their attention. When they turn around, there is nothing there. Whispers are another common experience. Visitors say they hear voices speaking close to their ears, sometimes calling their name. The words are often unclear, low, and distorted, as if spoken through water or from a great distance. A few have claimed the whispers are not in English, carrying a harsh, unfamiliar tone that fills them with fear. These moments often happen when the person is alone, separated from the group, making the experience even more terrifying. What makes these sightings so disturbing is how personal they feel. The house seems to choose who it reveals itself to. Not everyone sees the same thing, but those who do are left with the undeniable feeling that something inside the house is aware, intelligent, and watching. The spirits here do not perform for attention. They appear when they want to, on their own terms. The Lizzie Borden House does not overwhelm visitors with constant activity. Instead, it offers brief, powerful glimpses into something unseen. A shadow where no one stands. A figure that vanishes when noticed. A voice that fades the moment it is heard. Each encounter leaves behind fear, doubt, and the chilling realization that the dead may not be the only ones walking these halls. There are some places where fear feels human, born from memory and imagination. And then there are places where fear feels ancient, as if it existed long before the people who experienced it. The Lizzie Borden House is believed by many to be one of those places where something older than human spirits has taken interest. The brutal violence, the sudden deaths, and the emotional chaos of that day in 1892 may have acted like a signal, calling unseen entities that are drawn to pain, blood, and unresolved suffering. These entities are not described as ghosts in the traditional sense. They are something darker, something watchers fear to name directly. Many paranormal researchers and spiritual experts believe that Jinnat-like beings are attracted to locations soaked in extreme emotional energy. Murder, especially violent and intimate murder, releases fear and rage so powerful that it can tear through the boundaries between worlds. In the Lizzie Borden House, visitors often report a presence that does not behave like a lost human soul. It does not repeat routines or wander aimlessly. Instead, it feels aware, intelligent, and focused, as if it is studying those who enter. People describe this presence as heavy, pressing down on the atmosphere the moment they step into certain rooms. Breathing becomes difficult, not physically but emotionally, like the air itself is filled with tension. Even confident visitors, those who laugh off ghost stories, report sudden unease they cannot explain. Their thoughts darken. Their hearts race. A deep sense of danger settles in, though nothing visible is threatening them. This reaction is often said to be the first sign that something non-human has noticed them. Unlike human spirits, Jinnat-like entities are believed to hide in shadows and silence. They do not always show a form. Instead, they appear as shifting darkness in corners, areas where light seems weaker than it should be. Some visitors claim these shadows move against the direction of light, slowly sliding across walls or ceilings before disappearing. When this happens, the temperature in the room often drops sharply, sending chills through the body and causing sudden fear to rise without warning. Several guests have reported feeling mentally attacked rather than physically threatened. Thoughts of panic, anger, or despair enter their minds suddenly, thoughts that feel foreign and intrusive. Some describe hearing internal whispers, not spoken aloud but planted directly into their thoughts. These whispers carry no clear words, only emotions, fear, urgency, warning. Paranormal experts suggest that Jinnat communicate in ways meant to disturb the human mind, influencing emotions rather than speaking clearly. Nighttime intensifies these experiences. When darkness fills the house and silence grows deep, visitors say the presence becomes stronger. Some report feeling watched constantly, no matter where they move. The sensation is not vague, it feels focused, as if eyes are following every step. In certain rooms, people refuse to stay alone, overwhelmed by the fear that something unseen is standing just behind them. Even turning around brings no relief, because the feeling remains. There are accounts of guests waking from sleep unable to move, their bodies frozen while their minds remain fully awake. In these moments, they sense something near the bed, silent, heavy, powerful. Some see a dark shape hovering at the edge of their vision, not solid enough to identify, but strong enough to terrify. The presence does not speak or touch. It simply exists, feeding on fear, until suddenly it vanishes, leaving behind exhaustion and dread. Those who experience these encounters often say they feel drained afterward, emotionally and physically, as if something took energy from them. This draining effect is commonly associated with Jinnat-like beings, which are believed to grow stronger through fear and emotional distress. Visitors leave the house feeling unsettled long after the experience ends, reporting nightmares, anxiety, and the lingering sensation of being followed. Staff members and investigators have also shared unsettling stories. Equipment malfunctions frequently during investigations, batteries dying instantly, recordings filled with low-frequency sounds that cause discomfort when played back. Some investigators report sudden headaches, nausea, or intense pressure in their temples while conducting sessions. These symptoms often disappear the moment they step outside the house, suggesting the source is tied directly to the location. What makes the Lizzie Borden House especially frightening is the belief that these entities did not arrive by accident. They were drawn intentionally, summoned by violence and bloodshed, and they stayed because the energy never faded. The house became a feeding ground, a place where fear is renewed every time a visitor reacts, every time someone feels dread in the dark. Unlike ghosts, these entities do not seek closure or recognition. They do not want to tell their story. They want silence, darkness, and fear. They watch patiently, waiting for moments of vulnerability. The calm appearance of the house hides their presence well, allowing them to remain unseen, while their influence spreads quietly through the rooms. Those who believe in Jinnat warn that such beings attach themselves to places, not people, and that disturbing their territory can provoke subtle but lasting effects. The Lizzie Borden House, with its violent history and constant flow of curious visitors, provides endless opportunity for fear to return again and again. And in that repeating cycle of dread, something unseen continues to grow stronger, unseen but fully aware, listening, watching, and waiting in the shadows where light dares not stay. The fear inside the Lizzie Borden house does not rush at you or announce itself loudly. It arrives quietly, almost politely. And that is what makes it so powerful. From the moment visitors step inside, many feel a strange shift in their awareness, as if the house has noticed them. It is not the kind of fear that makes you scream or run immediately. It is slower, deeper, crawling into the mind and settling there. People often say the house feels alert, as if it is paying attention, studying movements, listening to breathing, memorizing footsteps. As visitors walk through the rooms, a disturbing sensation follows them, no matter where they go. Even when standing with others, laughter fades quickly, replaced by nervous glances and lowered voices. Some feel an invisible presence walking, just a step behind them, close enough to feel but never close enough to see. Turning around brings no relief. The feeling stays, calm and patient, as if whatever is watching knows there is no need to rush. Many guests report sudden emotional changes while inside the house. A room that looks harmless can fill a person with anxiety without any clear reason. Hearts begin to beat faster. Palms grow cold. Breathing feels shallow. These reactions happen even to people who do not believe in ghosts or the supernatural. The fear does not come from imagination. It comes from instinct, from something deep inside warning that this place is not empty. In certain areas of the house, the feeling becomes stronger, almost unbearable. Visitors describe the sense that they are being surrounded, not by bodies, but by awareness. It feels like eyes without faces are fixed on them, watching every move. Some people feel compelled to leave a room suddenly, overwhelmed by panic they cannot explain. Others freeze in place, afraid to move, as if stepping forward might provoke something unseen. There are reports of people feeling gently guided or pushed by something invisible. A light pressure on the back, a hand-like sensation near the shoulder, urging them forward or away from certain spaces. No force is strong enough to cause harm, yet the message feels clear. You are not fully welcome here. The house decides where you can stand comfortably and where fear will claim you. As darkness falls, the sense of being watched intensifies. Shadows seem to grow thicker, clinging to corners and ceilings. Even when lights are on, some areas remain unnaturally dark, as if light refuses to stay there. Visitors say that, when they focus too long on these dark spaces, a wave of dread washes over them, followed by the urge to look away. It feels dangerous to stare, as if attention itself invites something closer. Some guests experience the unsettling feeling of being followed long after leaving a room. They step into a hallway, yet the fear remains, moving with them. It is as if the house does not release its attention easily. Even outside, some visitors report glancing back at the building, convinced they are still being observed through the windows. The calm exterior offers no answers, only silence. There are also moments when the house feels emotionally heavy, almost suffocating. Visitors describe sudden sadness, anger, or despair that does not belong to them. These emotions rise quickly and fade just as suddenly, leaving confusion behind. Some believe the house feeds on these reactions, growing stronger with every heartbeat of fear, every moment of panic. The more sensitive a person is, the more intensely the house responds to them. Paranormal investigators often say that whatever watches inside the Lizzie Borden house is not passive. It reacts. When fear increases, activity seems to rise. Floorboards creak louder. Air grows colder. Silence becomes sharper, more noticeable. It feels like the house is leaning in, listening closely, waiting for fear to deepen. This awareness is what unsettles visitors the most, the sense that they are not just seeing a haunted place, but being seen by it. Some people report that the feeling of being watched becomes so personal that it feels targeted. It is not spread evenly through the room, it focuses on one person at a time. That individual may feel singled out, exposed, as if something unseen has chosen them for attention. In these moments, people describe the strongest fear of all. Not fear of harm, but fear of being known, understood, and remembered by something that should not exist. Even after leaving the house, the experience often lingers. Visitors report difficulty sleeping, sudden anxiety, or the sensation of presence returning in quiet moments. The fear follows them not as a constant terror, but as a memory that feels unfinished. They remember how it felt to be watched, truly watched, and the memory itself becomes unsettling. The Lizzie Borden house does not need to show itself clearly to inspire fear. It does not rely on loud noises or obvious movement. Its power lies in awareness, in the silent reminder that some places observe the living, just as closely as the living observe them. And once you feel that gaze upon you, steady, patient, and unseen, it becomes impossible to forget. As you finally step away from the Lizzie Borden house, the silence follows you longer than it should. The doors close behind you, yet the feeling does not. Somewhere deep inside, a question remains unanswered. Did you leave the house, or did a part of it leave with you? The windows stand still, dark and watchful, as if memorizing your face, your fear, your heartbeat. Nothing moves, nothing speaks, but the awareness lingers. This house does not beg to be believed. It does not need proof. Its power lives in what you felt, not what you saw. Long after the story ends, the unease returns in quiet moments, in the dark, when your mind is alone. And that is when you realize the most terrifying truth of all. Some places never forget the people who enter them, and some doors, once opened by fear, are never truly closed. If this story sent chills down your spine, remember to share it with those who dare to listen. And subscribe for more true haunted tales where history, horror, and the unseen collide. Because there are many more doors waiting to be opened, and not all of them should be.